It was a quiet April evening in the small town of Enfield, Illinois in 1973. Henry McDaniel and his family were going about their business like any other day in their peaceful little community. Little did they know that their lives were about to take a bizarre and unsettling turn. The strange events began with a series of peculiar noises. Henry McDaniel, a middle-aged man living with his wife and children in a cozy house on the outskirts of town, first heard of it one night. It was a scratching sound like something was trying to get inside their home. At first, they dismissed it as a mischievous raccoon or a squirrel trying to find shelter. Days turned into weeks and the noises persisted, growing louder and more persistent. The McDaniel family started to feel uneasy. They checked the house thoroughly, making sure that there were no gaps or holes where animals could enter, but found nothing amiss. The scratching sounds continued, and the unease turned into genuine fear. One fateful evening, Henry McDaniel's life would change forever. He had just finished dinner with his wife and children when he heard the scratching again. This time it was coming from outside. Determined to put an end to whatever was tormenting his family, he grabbed a flashlight and a pistol and ventured out into the night. As he moved cautiously through the dark, he suddenly froze. His flashlight beam landed on something that defied all logic and reason. There in front of him was a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. It stood around 4.5 feet tall, had 3 legs, and its skin was a strange grayish-green color. Its eyes were large, round, and a disturbing shade of pink. Its hands ended in sharp, claw-like fingers. To make matters even more terrifying, the creature emitted a high-pitched, eerie squealing noise that sent shivers down Henry's spine. Henry McDaniel couldn't believe his eyes. He was face to face with a creature straight out of a nightmare. Panic overtook him, and he reacted instinctively by raising his pistol and firing at the bizarre being. The gunshot rang out, but the creature didn't react as a normal animal would. It didn't flee or make any sign of pain. Instead, it simply vanished into thin air, leaving Henry bewildered and trembling in the darkness. Henry rushed back inside and recounted the surreal encounter to his wife and children. They could hardly believe what he was saying. It sounded like a scene from a science fiction movie or a horror story, not something that could happen in their quiet town. The McDaniel family was shaken to their core, and they hardly slept that night. They locked the doors and windows, hoping it was just a one-time event, but the scratching noises persisted. Fear hung heavy in their home, and they couldn't escape the feeling that they were being watched. As days passed, the McDaniel family story spread throughout the town. At first, many dismissed it as a prank or wild exaggeration, and then other residents started coming forward with their own strange tales. Some claimed to have seen the creature matching the description provided by Henry. They spoke of 3-legged beings with pink eyes, just like he had described. Others report hearing odd noises and experiencing strange phenomena around their homes. The town was abuzz with rumors and fear. The growing concern in Enfield prompted local law enforcement to take action. The police launched an official investigation into the strange occurrences, and they interviewed the McDaniel family and other witnesses. They searched the area around the McDaniels' home but found no physical evidence to support the claims of a 3-legged creature with pink eyes. Skeptics began to voice their doubts, suggesting that the witnesses may have been mistaking known animals for something more sinister. After all, it was not uncommon for people to misidentify animals in the dark, especially when they were frightened. Others believed it could be a hoax or even a case of mass hysteria, where fear and rumors fueled each other. Despite the skepticism, the Enfield horror case attracted the attention of cryptozoologists, experts who study mysterious and unexplained creatures. These researchers were intrigued by the reports and decided to investigate further. Cryptozoologists examined the physical evidence and interviewed witnesses. They were particularly interested in understanding the creature's behavior and where there might be any scientific explanation for the sightings. However, like the local authorities, they could not find any concrete evidence to confirm the existence of the strange creature. The town of Enfield became divided. Some believed the witnesses and were genuinely afraid of the creature. They kept the children and pets indoors after dark and avoided venturing out at night. Others remained skeptical, attributing the sightings to hysteria or exaggeration. The media picked up the story and it soon gained national attention. Enfield became a magnet for curious onlookers, paranormal investigators, and journalists looking for a sensational story. The town's residents were thrust into the spotlight, and the Enfield horror became a topic of fascination and debate across the country. Despite all the attention and investigations, the Enfield horror case remained unresolved. The witnesses maintained their accounts, but skeptics continued to question the credibility of the sightings. No physical evidence, such as footprints or hair samples, were found to definitively identify the creature. Over time, the story of Henry McDaniel and the Enfield horror became part of a local folklore. It was a strange and unsettling chapter in the town's history that left a lasting mark on the community. While some people eventually moved on, others continued to wonder about the truth behind the mysterious events of 1973. Do you know about the legend of the Snallygaster? Well, once upon a time in the rolling hills of Frederick County, Maryland, there lived a creature unlike any other. This was the Snallygaster, a legendary beast that had captured the imaginations and fears of the local population. The Snallygaster was said to be a fearsome and bizarre hybrid creature, a strange amalgamation of various creatures from the darkest corners of mythology. It had a bird-like or reptilian head, resembling a vulture and a dragon combined. Its wings were vast and bat-like, allowing it to soar through the night sky with an eerie grace. Some witnesses even claimed that it had tentacles or octopus-like appendages that writhed and twisted as it moved. Its teeth were pointed and razor-sharp, and its roar was said to send shivers down the spine of anyone unlucky enough to hear it. The legend of the Snallygaster began with whispers and hushed tales in local taverns. Stories of a creature that lurked in the darkness, snatching up livestock and terrorizing the countryside, spread like wildfire. At first, these stories were dismissed as mere tall tales, the product of too much moonshine and an overactive imagination. But then, the sightings began. Farmers and townsfolk claimed to have seen the Snallygaster, swooping down from the night sky, its wings casting eerie shadows over the land. Cattle and sheep went missing, their remains discovered torn and mutilated. Panic gripped the community as the legend took on a life of its own. One incident that sent shockwaves through the county was the disappearance of Old Man Jenkins' prized bull, a massive black Angus with horns that could pierce an oak tree. One moonlit night, as Old Man Jenkins looked out of his farmhouse window, he saw a shadowy figure with gleaming red eyes swoop down from the night sky and snatch his beloved bull. He described the creature as a nightmarish beast, its wings flapping ominously as it carried the struggling bull into the darkness. Newspapers picked up on the hysteria, reporting to the strange happenings in Frederick County. Eyewitnesses' accounts flooded the pages, and the legend of the Snallygaster became a sensation. People from all over came to the area in search of the elusive creature, armed with cameras and nets, hoping to capture evidence of its existence. The Smithsonian Institution, the venerable institution of science and research, even offered a substantial reward for the capture or discovery of the Snallygaster. Scientists and researchers descended upon the county, setting up camp and conducting nocturnal vigils, hoping to catch a glimpse of the legendary beast. As the Snallygaster frenzy reached its peak, stories of another creature began to surface. The Dueo, also known as the Weirdeer. This canine-like creature was said to be the sworn enemy of the Snallygaster. Local lore told of epic battles between these two legendary foes, their clashes shaking the very ground they stood on. One chilling incident recounted by a group of loggers who were deep in the forest late one evening sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it. They claimed to have stumbled upon a gruesome scene, a clearing bathed in moonlight with the Snallygaster and Dueo locked in a ferocious battle. The Snallygaster's wing thrashed wildly and its tentacles lashed out, while the Dueo's fangs gleamed as it fought to defend its territory. The loggers wisely retreated, leaving the creatures to their fearsome duel. The Snallygaster-Dueo feud became a central part of the legend, adding an extra layer of intrigue to the already captivating story. Some believe that the battles between these mythical creatures were responsible for the strange happenings and disappearances in the area. Yet, as quickly as the legend had taken hold, it began to fade away. The Snallygaster sightings grew less frequent, and the panic that had gripped Frederick County began to subside. Skeptics pointed to the lack of concrete evidence, and some claimed that the whole affair had been an elaborate hoax or a mass hallucination. In time, the Snallygaster became more of a local curiosity than a real threat. The Smithsonian's reward went unclaimed, and the scientists and researchers who had flocked into the area packed their equipment and left. The legend settled into the fabric of the community, a reminder of a time when the unknown had held them in its thrall. In the modern era, the Snallygaster has transformed into a symbol of local folklore and pride. Frederick County celebrates its mythical resident with annual festivals and events. The Snallygaster-themed races draw runners from far and wide, and parades featuring Snallygaster floats wind their way through the streets. It's a celebration of imagination, a nod to the power of stories to captivate and unite a community. The Snallygaster, once a source of fear and mystery, has become a beloved figure, a testament to the enduring appeal of folklore. And so, the legend lives on, as enduring as the hills and forests of Frederick County themselves. While there have been no recent credible sightings or evidence of the Snallygaster's existence, it doesn't seem to matter. The Snallygaster has taken flight into the realm of myth and legend, where it will continue to soar through the imaginations of those who hear its story.